This is St. Louis on the Air from St. Louis Public Radio. I'm Elaine Cha. There are few artists as iconic as William Shakespeare. It's been over 400 years since the famed playwright's death, yet his plays remain influential and relevant to this day. Part of that is owed to the St. Louis Shakespeare Festival, one of the many organizations in the U.S. that keeps the bard's work and legacy alive. This year, they are back at it with Shakespeare in the Park and their production of As You Like It, which runs from May 29th to June 23rd in Forest Park. Here to discuss this year's production is Tom Ridgely, producing artistic director of St. Louis Shakespeare Festival. Welcome back, Tom.
Thanks, Elaine.
And we also have Beth Bombara, singer and songwriter. Welcome back to you too.
Thank you.
So Tom, I have a confession. I don't really do Shakespeare. I was a writing major, not an English lit major. Mm-hmm. And many people I know mention that Shakespeare in the Park is actually how they come to know more about and of the bard's work. For those who are new to Shakespeare or to St. Louis, what is Shakespeare in the Park?
Shakespeare in the Park is a month-long outdoor production of a Shakespeare play in Forest Park. This is the 24th year that the festival will have put this on. And I don't know if people realize, but it's the largest outdoor Shakespeare festival between either coasts. And on a given night, the audiences can be the largest for Shakespeare anywhere in the world. There can be 6,000 people out in the Glen coming to hear these 400-year-old plays, which is extraordinary, but I think it does speak to both the enthusiasm that St. Louis has for Shakespeare and for the power to his plays to continue to speak to us.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of years, As You Like It was first published in 1623. Mm-hmm. That's 1623. So we're talking over 400 years ago. With as few spoilers as possible, what is the play about, and what is it that makes this particular work so timely?
Well, the play is basically about a group of people that are banished, that are exiled, that are sent out of society into the Forest of Arden to sort of make society new again. And they create a different set of rules, and they find a different version of themselves and a different way of relating to one another out there. And I think that speaks to this sort of yearning to constantly be renewing and improving and fixing the things that feel broken about this world. But then, at the heart of this play is also just what it is, what love is and what the difference is between the love the sort of image of love that we receive from our culture, from movies and pop songs and things like that, and what the actual experience of being in a relationship with another human being is. That's what's Rosalind. That's what's so amazing about Rosalind. Rosalind is the largest female role that Shakespeare ever wrote. And she's the center of this play. And she's young, but she's brilliant. And somehow she intuits the difference between those two things. She hasn't experienced it, but she knows that to really love someone is not like what it is in the movies or the sonnet books or whatever it is that's sort of telling us what it should be like.
Right. Now, Beth, along with adding your sound to Shakespeare's songs with original composition, you're also acting in the play, and this is a first for you, being on stage sort of in this capacity. We'll listen to some of your music in just a bit, but first, tell us who you're playing and how it's been getting into character.
Yeah, so I am playing the character Amiens, who in the play is the minstrel. And it's kind of interesting for me, that character, I'm following the Duchess around and her sort of crew, and I'm sort of with them hanging out and reacting to, what they're going through, and sort of like current day life, writing songs about it. So the songs that are in the play are sort of, maybe someone just gave this soliloquy, and then that's sort of the song summarizes that. So it's been extremely fun for me to sort of take on that role. It's the first theater production I've ever been in. I've never acted before. So, it's all new to me, and it's been very, very exciting.
Mm-hmm. Tom, the St. Louis Shakespeare Festival, it put on this show, right, in 2001. And in 2004, the first show ever that the St. Louis Shakespeare Festival put on was in 2001. And then a few years later is when the festival took on As You Like It. How does this year's production compare with the one that was mounted 2 decades in the past?
It's a great question. I wasn't here. I didn't see it. But a lot of what the festival is now is sort of what it was the very first year in 2001. It's been this really special experience of seeing Shakespeare, not in a theater, but in this beautiful natural environment, this very picturesque spot in Forest Park, where you're surrounded, not by seats or walls or concrete, but by grass and trees and nature. And so it's especially, I think, poetic with As You Like It, most of which takes place in a forest.
Right.
To be almost in a literal forest of Forest Park.
Mm-hmm. So were some of those details and the character that you're playing, Amiens, was that how you came to this particular role? I mean, you've composed the music, but insofar as that collaboration goes, how much of it had to do with the play itself, with relationships? How did that go?
Yeah.
Well, Beth's done something amazing, is that she's taken some of Shakespeare's lyrics, the lyrics that are in the original show, and she's woven in interpolations of her own words. So what you're hearing is a mixture. It's sort of a collaboration between William Shakespeare and Beth Bombara.
So I sort of took, Shakespeare wrote words that are these songs that exist in the play. And I sort of took those words and edited those, added my own lyrics to those. So in a sense, I took, this vision of music being in the play and put my own kind of spin on it and added some original lyrics with Shakespeare's lyrics and original music.
Yeah. Let's hear one of the songs that you put your sound and your lyrics to. Here's What Shall He Have That Killed the Deer?
What shall he have that killed the deer? His leather skin and horns to wear, a feast to fill the belly full, and we'll sing him home. What shall he have that killed the deer? His leather skin and horns to wear, a feast to fill the belly full, and sing him home. We thank thee for thy service, majestic beast of the forest, a bitter taste. Mother Earth awakes to shed a tear.
Beth, tell us a little bit about this song and the moment in the play where people will be hearing it.
Yeah. So this scene sort of captures some feelings of the character Jaques, who is sort of like a melancholy character. Mm-hmm. And he's very tuned in to this idea that, we just killed this deer. and he's very attuned to kind of what that means, and he's sad about it. And he's reflecting on that. And so this song sort of comes in and is sort of this moment of realization, sort of that thing and that connectedness of animals in nature, but also, they're hungry and they need to find food for themselves out in the forest.
Right.
So it's sort of that juxtaposition of kind of bittersweet realization.
Right. What is it that you wanted to bring to this song to make it yours? Or to bring it up to date in some way with this year's production of As You Like It?
Yeah, so the first thing when I sat down to work on it, I was thinking about, what's happening in this scene, and it really is this sort of bittersweet feeling. So I was trying to capture that emotion with sort of the music, and I feel like taking that bittersweet emotion and sort of I added lyrics that talk about the deer, which weren't in Shakespeare's original lyrics, but I felt like focusing a little bit more on the deer and, majestic beast of the forest sort of helps convey those feelings.
Right. What was it like for you, Tom, to hear that song for the first time?
Incredibly moving. I remember when I heard it. It's just a beautiful song in and of itself, but as Beth's explaining, it really captures the poignancy of that moment. Jaques is really conflicted about people coming into they've been exiled from their place of living, and they come to the place where the animals live and start, killing them for food. So in his mind, they had become what they were sort of holding in contempt.
I'm also imagining like people listening to this song in that setting of Forest Park and how quiet it might get after that part is done. Like that too, being in an environment that really kind of supports the mood and the meaning of the song. Now, Tom, the St. Louis Shakespeare Festival, it always features local talent in its productions. And so part of the question earlier was really about like, how did you and Beth, how did this collaboration happen? I mean, were you looking for someone who could bring in music the way that Beth does?
Yeah, that's exactly what we were looking for. We were, there's always a question with a Shakespeare play about how to handle the music, and there's quite a bit of it in As You Like It. And as Beth's saying, it's sort of woven in, like it's not just sort of, it's not sort of beside the point. It's very much about what's happening on stage. And I mean, when you think of music in St. Louis, you think of Beth Bombara. And so we just asked her if it would be something she'd be interested in. And she said yes. And it's been an amazing, amazing collaboration between her and Nancy, who's directing it.
Yeah, it's been fun for me for sure.
Yeah.
And, since I've never done anything like it, just to be asked to be involved with something like this was intimidating, but very exciting.
Has it drawn anything out of you that is different as a singer-songwriter?
I think, just having not a blank slate. Like when I'm writing my own songs, I'm sort of starting from a blank slate, and so to come at something from both a music and lyrical perspective that already has something there on the page to work with is a definitely different experience for me. And I think that because of that pulled out some new things for me.
Tom, the festival also kind of makes it a point to engage people, right, in the community, maybe those who are a little younger, earlier stages of their career, maybe not even people who've done any dramatic work on stage. Tell us about a couple of the other actors in As You Like It who have a local connection, and then maybe an unusual connection to performance.
Well, I think first is the woman who's playing Rosalind. Caroline Amos is from St. Louis and has a long history with the festival. She was a part of our Shakespeare Squad, which is our teen acting program when she was in high school. And then she went to Webster, and she was in our touring productions and our Shakespeare in the Streets productions. And now here she is starring in our main stage in Forest Park. So it's just been incredible to watch her grow as an artist. She's an incredible actor now, an incredible Shakespearean actor. So we love that she has that St. Louis connection too, and hope people feel that hometown pride and her coming back home to do this. And that's one end of the spectrum. And I guess at the other end of the spectrum, there's a character in this play, As You Like It, who's called Charles the Wrestler. And it's how the story starts, actually. Orlando, Rosalind's love interest, fights him and defeats him in a very unlikely wrestling match. And playing that role for us is a gentleman who goes by the name of Lenny Mephisto, the most hated wrestler in all of St. Louis. And he is a professional wrestler who wrestles all around town, and he takes his work incredibly seriously and throws himself into it, mind, body, and soul.
Okay. Well, it sounds like there's a lot of great things in store for people this season. Tom Ridgely is the producing artistic director of the St. Louis Shakespeare Festival, and Beth Bombara is a singer-songwriter and now stage actor. Thanks to both of you for joining us today.
Thanks, Elaine.
As You Like It will be at Shakespeare Glen from May 29th to June 23rd. General admission is free. No reservations are required. You can learn more about that at stlshakes.org. As we close today's show, we're going to close with another song from As You Like It. Here's Beth Bombara's version of William Shakespeare's wedding song.
Oh, blessed bond of board and bed, that thou might join her hand with his. Heaven surely brought her hither. We bear witness to this honor. Come, let us drink, come, let us dance, the forging of this new romance hath brought mirth in heaven above. For this we sing to honor love.
This episode was produced by Maya Norfleet.
Our audio engineer is Aaron Dorr. This podcast was mixed and edited by Aaron.
Our executive producer is Alex Hoyer.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations, and leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thank you.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis.
The Gateway brings you the day's news from the St. Louis region and across Missouri. It also includes stories from the Illinois side of the river and our Metro East reporter, Will Bauer.
In Alton, in Belleville, in East St. Louis, in Edwardsville, in Cahokia Heights, at Scott Air Force Base, I'm Will Bauer. St. Louis Public Radio.
Listen to reports from Will and all of our journalists weekdays on the Gateway, on the STLPR app, and wherever you get podcasts.